It is the 8th of January of the new year, 2022. Welcome. We are live with Circle City News, and we'd like to thank our sponsor, the Law Office of Mark Nicholson, fighting against the travesty of justice, for making this show possible. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madison.
Hey. We've got a wonderful guest, Edie, with us today. Edie, how are you?
I am awesome. How about yourself?
Good, I'm doing good. Where are you coming from?
I am based in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Oh, neat. So it's a little chilly up there.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna talk about some local news today, and then we're gonna move into your interview, if that's all right.
Yeah, whatever you need to do.
Awesome. So I just want to shout out the Send the Love fundraising unit. They raised over $4,200 for the Indiana Diaper Bank. Thank you, those that make a difference in your local community. There was an article that said that those donations are already making an immediate difference in the community. So we just want to thank you for that.
That's great.
Yeah. There was a C for COVID, constitutional carry, and cannabis movement that recently released. On the COVID front, COVID business or small businesses are resisting the mandate against vaccines. They're saying that it will handcuff small businesses. So they're keeping that open and up to people's interpretation. If you want to get your vaccine, that's your decision. They are fighting against making it a mandatory situation. So that's sort of where they stand on the business front in Indiana currently. Yep, that's just sort of a personal kind of thing. I sort of agree with that. I feel like people are smart enough and wise enough to make their own decisions. And once we sort of force people into doing certain things, I think we sort of kind of jeopardize the freedom of thought and speech. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that.
Absolutely. I see where you're coming from, Madison. And, you don't want to limit people's powers and freedoms, but at the same time, you want to make sure that, the common good is taken care of. So it's like, we have these fine lines with businesses, and like, where do we draw the line on, mandating and, allowing people the opportunity to be knowledgeable and make the decision for themselves. Because like you said, you're going to be faced with combativeness. When you tell anybody to do something, that they need to do something and they have no choice but to do it, then naturally you're going to have some sort of retaliation. Have you ever told a toddler no? Have you ever tried to tell, a boomer a new fact that was discovered in studying and research after their time that's actually legitimate? Things can be a little bit challenging. So I see the frustration there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely. So the second C is the constitutional carry. There was a bill introduced and passed through the House, but fell short in the state Senate that allows you to carry a handgun or weapon without a permit unless you are a felon. I don't really know where I stand on this. How do you guys feel about this? I know we got some immediate reactions here.
Why are we permitting people to carry weapons with no permit?
And it passed in the House, but fell short at state Senate.
But I mean, I'm glad that it fell short, because clearly the people who passed it on are a little short on logic. You have to get permits for everything else. You have to have a permit to drive a car. You have to have a permit to hunt or fish. I don't understand. Right, to sell things, I have to have a business license in order to have a business.
Right.
I absolutely agree with that. Somebody that hunts and somebody that fishes and somebody that carries as well. I know that when you purchase your weapon, you have your license, like your gun, not your license, but your essentially receipt of purchase, right? And you have to register your gun with your local, jurisdiction, whether it be your city hall, whatever the case may be. But then after that, in order to carry, in some states, it's like you have to have, you have to take your concealed pistols license course. Mm-hmm. And that's like an 8-hour course requiring, in-field training and book training in order to conceal carry. However, oftentimes not, you can open carry a weapon and not have to have any of that, that training that they teach you in these courses. And let me tell you firsthand, it's very informative stuff. There's a lot of things I learned in there prior to that class that I wouldn't have known before taking it. And I feel like it keeps me more prepared as someone that holds a weapon, because I carry on a regular basis. Sometimes I open carry, sometimes I, conceal carry, depending on my situation. But at the end of the day, I'm knowledgeable and I'm safe and I know how to use what I'm using. It's not just anybody with a weapon on their hip.
Right. And that's the important distinction is
exactly.
you have someone who has the training, who has the knowledge, who has the permit versus just any Joe Schmo who wants to carry a gun to Walmart because they don't feel safe.
Exactly. And I think that's an interesting thing to consider with this conversation is that for concealed pistols license, you have to have training. And for open carry, you don't have to have any. And the only difference is it's concealed and it's not. So it's like, what kind of people do we have out here without any proper training? Just
and either way, it's a weapon that could take someone's life. It doesn't matter how you carry it. You should be properly trained and permitted to carry it. Absolutely. Because I know, like, if I walk into Walmart and there's a dude with like a handgun, okay, fine. But I've gone to Walmart and seen people with like rifles on their back, and I'm like, oh my goodness, did you come here to like hunt the meat in the meat case? Like, I don't understand what's happening here. If you don't feel safe, like, I just don't understand.
Wow. That's sort of like a form of intimidation too. Like, what are you trying to prove?
It is.
Like
I saw him and I was like, nope, I'm not going into Walmart today. No, thank you. Because we don't know what people are intending to do with these.
Right.
And, if people are going to have them, that's fine. I'm not against people having guns. I've shot guns. I have experience around them, but I don't own any because I don't have a permit. So
or faith in my own knowledge on the weapon either.
Right.
Like, I haven't had the training, so I know that it would be irresponsible for me to have it on me or,
yeah,
absolutely.
Like, for me personally, I was an archery instructor for Girl Scouts.
Cool.
So I have a bow and arrow in my house. So if somebody comes into my house, they're gonna see a bow and arrow.
That is so cool.
Thank you. But like the only place that I would take that bow and arrow, it's either in my home or it's packed away in a carrying case going to Girl Scout camp. Right. I'm not gonna take it to Walmart because I know it's dangerous. So
you had mentioned a point too that I wanted to touch back on to, Madison, is that it kind of can be intimidating, right? You see this big old tank of a weapon on somebody, you're like, holy guacamole, not messing with that guy. What's that guy up to, right? So it's like, it is intimidating. And ironically enough, that's part of the reason, that I carry is, I'm often in social situations in my line of work, or, I've been in social situations in the past that may or may not have been able to be prevented if I just would have had something to be able to protect myself with. And it does provide a sense of intimidation because I'm a tiny girl and I wear a big 9 on my hip. And even if I conceal it, you still can kind of see what's going on there. It's like, oh, we're not going to mess with that chick. Because being a woman, as we all can know, you're vulnerable in certain situations in comparison to others and other people or maybe, populations. And I feel like with my weapon, it's helped me. I've never had to use it, but having it with me has gotten me out of a situation of, I was roofied by a photographer once. I just had to mention that I had a weapon and that's all it took. You know what I mean? That's all it took. Not even having to bring it out. But it's like, I need you to be able to leave my space. I need you to get out of my way. And just mentioning it. And that's the type of thing, that intimidation, don't even have to use it. But the fact that I had it was just in case,
Right.
Well, I'm really glad that it helped you get out of that situation safely. I'm glad you had that.
Thank you.
So scary. Very scary. And Indiana is a city, so I understand the protecting yourself, especially. That is important, but it's not like you're in the Wild West where like wolves are gonna attack you and you need to be like, guns at the ready to be able to
you don't have to be Rambo to go get groceries.
Exactly.
I need my AR to walk my dog.
Right. God forbid, right? It's insane. So yeah, we're hoping that kind of doesn't pass and, sort of raising awareness for just like gun responsibility.
Yes.
If anything. So yes, and thank you, Nevaeh, for that quip too, because I think that was very informative, like just your history on that and how that's helped you. And that's really what it's about. It's not about like intimidating, you know, like
that's the thing, because we've all talked about it. We've had conversations, you know, like throughout the history about, oh, how do we do like a psychological exam that's required, or like how do we make these things required for people that are gun owners, and they're all great ideas, but the most realistic thing is to provide this course, you know what I mean, like they do for a concealed pistols license, you know, to get your license. And this course is very informative. Like it provides you the infield, the outfield, the realistic, if you need to use it, what would happen, you know, and everything that comes with that. And I feel like if you have that knowledge and a good teacher and a good course, that could like raise awareness and create, you know, maybe a difference in the future for gun owners as well.
yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
So we're going to shift to the final C, and that is cannabis. A bill was introduced to legalize medical marijuana in the state of Indiana. The only fallback is Governor Holcomb. He may be one of the only to object to the bill. So that's y'all's governor, right?
Why?
I don't know. Is
Like-
he old? I don't know much about
Yes.
this. Yes.
I'm sorry. I don't understand like why we're still against medical marijuana, especially when we have all of these studies that show that it helps with a variety of issues. Like I don't understand.
It
why
helps
it's
with
so
health and it
innocent.
helps with the economy. I don't understand what else they're looking for
Exactly.
here.
I mean, look at Colorado, look at every fucking state around us that has gotten their shit together and gotten out of the 1950s. But you know,
wow.
this
Great
is Indiana.
point.
We're good God-fearing folk here. We don't mess with the ganja.
We
But
don't do the green goddess down here.
right, like
That's Satan's work.
marijuana, I don't know her.
That
That's
is
so
the devil's
fascinating
magic.
too, with Chicago being so close of an influence. You would
I know.
think that they
And
would just
also you
sort of
have to
snap out
understand,
of
too,
that.
Yes, like look at the surrounding states, people. We have rec states. We're 5
Yeah.
steps behind. You know, we're still on the fence about medical marijuana. Get with the times, Indiana. Where are you at, Holcomb? You know, go up to Michigan, go up
1950.
over the border. You can walk into a store with an ID from California for all we care. Come enjoy some marijuana while you're here. You know,
Right.
so much economic flourishing, so much improvement in all different areas of like, you know,
Yeah.
Michigan's economy and social structure as it is since marijuana has become an industry. Get with it. If anything, if nothing at all, it gives you money for your state.
Right. And that should have been the final ticket for them.
There's money to be had.
You would think so.
Right. You know, that's fascinating to me too, because every single person that I've spoken to, all of you included from Indiana, are extremely liberal and open-minded. That for the local news that I looked up today to be that they were considering doing open carries without permits, and that got closer to being legalized
But
than
no weed though. No
medical
Of course
marijuana.
it did, because guns are better than pot.
Isn't that like
That said no
obscene?
one ever.
Yeah.
guns are safer than pot.
Except Governor Holcomb.
Yeah,
Guns
except
are safer
well,
than
okay, I shouldn't be surprised because he's in the same party as Ronald Reagan, and you know, the whole war on drugs thing. Like it makes sense. I get it. You gotta
Also,
hold
that
true to the
understands
party
people are
lines and all that stuff.
Exactly.
But
Like,
I
people
mean,
that are-
these people were voted in to be representatives of us, the people. And if
Correct.
us, the people, are saying, give us weed, just fucking do it already.
Exactly. They
do it.
neglect to remember that they're social servants. They're not. It's not their
Right.
own
It's not about,
tyranny.
it's not about imposing what they want. They were hired by us to impose our will.
Exactly. That's why I'm so shocked that you have people like that in office. I guess Florida, we have DeSantis too, and I think he's Republican too, so we kind of have a lot of that. But that's a lot of the
I'm sorry.
education stuff. I know. That's a lot of the education stuff. Like we need to get our education like sorted out in Florida, but we're up on the times. Medical marijuana, it's decriminalized in the south half of the state. Like you can't go to jail for that, really, realistically.
Right.
You'll get fines, but it won't like F you for your whole life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
that's
like,
just sort of interesting to me.
marijuana, that's the thing. You guys will hear me on this show every Saturday and every weekend talking about, hey, marijuana's pros and pros and pros and minimal cons. But I will say that marijuana not only can boom this economy and give Indiana some much needed money for some much needed repairs on some much needed highways. Let's just go ahead and put that out there, folks.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it has helped me. I'm a class A patient, as somebody that when I was in Michigan, of course, because Indiana, it's illegal to leave down here. But when I was living in Michigan, I used marijuana every day. It helped with my mental health. It helped combat some physical symptoms from medications that I was taking. It was the only way that I could sleep. It was the only thing that would bring me down from a panic attack in a certain time of my life. You know, there's many benefits here, and I
Brings
feel
you
like,
inward.
let's take off our conservative lens here, Indiana. You know, let's take off our conservative lens of this being something that's not been socially acceptable ever, and you know, leaving this hard lens on, right? Let's take that off for a second and just really look at all these different benefits and how other states are benefiting from it and how people are benefiting from it, and maybe just have an open mind. You know what?
Right.
I'm creating a PowerPoint. I'm coming, Holcomb. I'm coming.
Do it.
Yeah.
I actually went to, have you ever heard of PowerPoint parties?
Yes.
I actually got to go to one last year. For my birthday, for her birthday, one of my friends requested that everyone invited make a PowerPoint and present it at the party. And it was so much fun.
Oh, I want to do that so bad. That's why I brought that up. Actually, that's funny that you said that, guys.
Do it. Invite me. Let's have a girls' day, and we'll just do it.
Musicians, little graphics, clip art. Oh man, I could go wild.
Honeycomb transition slide, my favorite.
Yes.
Shoot.
Okay, so I looked at your Facebook, Edie, and I feel like we align on some things. I saw a lot of pot and a lot of kittens.
Yes.
So what is it that you do, or what are you promoting here?
So I've been making chocolate for a long time, but over the summer I decided to actually like convert my little side hustle, hobby, whatever you want to call it, into a legitimate company.
Awesome.
So I now am the proud owner of Black Cat Confections. That's based here in Terre Haute. I make chocolates in all different shapes. I have a collection of almost 200 chocolate molds. I make cupcakes, pies, anything that I want to make.
Do you ship?
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a fantastic time doing it. I have a website that's being built so that I can start offering like shipping on products instead of just doing like farmers markets and word of mouth. I have a commercial kitchen now because like for so long I was doing this in my home, but you know, now I have a commercial kitchen.
Wow.
Yes. So now I'm working on like partnerships with like local coffee shops to try to get my products in there. Yeah, I'm so excited.
That is
good luck.
exciting.
So I was gonna ask, is it you bake to order, or you sort of have like an outline? I'm gonna do this much, and then you know, how do you go around?
I do it to order most of the time. Like for the longest time, this business was like a word of mouth kind of thing. I would do private events for friends. I catered like a meeting at my college once. And in situations like that, I was like, they were like, oh, you make whatever you want. And we'll just pay you whatever you want. And I was like, okay. So I made a bunch of chocolate. I made my blueberry and white chocolate muffins.
Oh,
they're so good. They're so good. But like when I'm going to farmers markets, I will make a bunch of things ahead of time, and just like try to get them out the door because I hate food waste. So I try to be as smart as I can with when I make things.
Awesome. And what inspired the name?
Yeah.
So originally, like when I first started making chocolate, I was using sweet pea. That was my homage to my great grandmother. I grew up watching Food Network with her. Especially like Iron Chef America or the competition shows, you know, where they would build like 4-foot sculptures out of cake or molten sugar. And I'd be like, I want to learn how to do that. And she goes, so do it. You can do it. And like, she was the first person to encourage me to go to culinary school. And so like, after I'd finished, it was like she passed when I was 16, so she never got to see me do any of these things.
Oh, she's looking down on you.
Oh,
And she's
she's
smiling.
definitely
I know that she
100%.
is 100%. She was born on Halloween, so
Oh,
she's a bitch. Without question.
Oh my gosh.
But you know, when I started like going to farmers markets and things like that, people kept confusing me for another sweet pea bakery that was already in Terre Haute. So I had to rebrand. And it was hard to let go of that because, like I said, my great grandma didn't get to see me do any of these things. And that was my way of like tying it all back to her because that's where it started.
Right.
But when I was thinking about what to rebrand as, like my little black cat, Fergus, came and like got in my face and I was like, Black Cat. Yeah.
Meow, meow, meow.
I mean,
Catchy.
I have a huge soft spot for black cats because they're so unappreciated and so misunderstood.
There's a taboo around them without a doubt.
Exactly. Like they're
Stigmatization.
outcasts without even doing anything wrong. And that's something I totally understand that. I was bullied a lot in school. I was always kind of the outcast, the newcomer. So that just, it really clicked.
Yeah, it's sort of like a re-empowering kind of moment too. Like you're building this company from your family background, from the ground up. I kind of like the Black Cat. I think as her being a witch too. I think that kind of
I think that
manifests
really
itself a little bit,
pretty nicely.
Yeah.
And for anybody who goes and looks at the website, or not the website, but the Facebook page, I do have the logo for Black Cat Confections, that little black cat that's in the center. It actually is Fergus. I drew his outline for it.
So perfect. How wholesome. That's so wholesome.
Right? But I mean, I think Fergus, honestly, like he just kind of encapsulates everything about this brand, to be honest, because like on the outside, he's prickly and he's angry and like, dangerous, but underneath the surface, he's soft and cuddly and he just wants to be loved and accepted.
Just sweet like sugar, you know. Just a little decadent treat is all he is.
Just a little bit. He's a little tiny boy. He came from a junkyard. A former friend of my mother's found him in the junkyard that she used to work at, and he was with the remains of his litter mates and his mom. He was the only one still living.
Remains? That sounds
like they had all already passed away.
Oh my gosh. What a story.
And so like she brought him home and she kept him for a couple of weeks, but she came to my mom and she was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I love this little cat, but I can't afford to keep him. I don't want to take him to the shelter because he'll probably get put down because he's solid black and nobody likes black cats.
Oh my goodness.
And she's like, I just don't know what to do. Like he's not gonna have a home. And I was like, yes, he does. He has a home. Bring him here. And I shit you not. She brought him over in a purse, like a little tiny shoulder bag. And like he fit in my hands.
You are. Here's this not dumpster kitty. Here's this dump kitty. Not the dumpster, the whole dump kitty. Oh, what a blessing.
Right. He's absolutely just so precious, and he is definitely the weirdest fucking cat I've ever had. Like I've had cats for over 20 years. He is the weirdest one I've ever had.
You know, it's funny you mentioned witchcraft earlier, and we were talking. There was a mention of witchcraft, and I too practice myself. And I have a black and white cat, and I know that with my cat, he's 8 years old. His name's Monroe. He's a real handsome man. Okay, very proud. But Monroe is also very spiritually in tune. He likes to do, like, he uses his frequencies with his purring. He's very in tune with where my chakras are at. And wherever what chakra needs healing, he'll place himself. Like, there's often times where he'll sit right on my stomach, here in this chakra. He'll sit right here on my chest. He'll sit right on top of my head. Like, he goes just for the chakra areas, and then he'll vibrate and he'll do his healing work.
Oh
my! And cats are so more in tune with that aspect of our lives that we really give them credit for.
Yeah, so I really feel like they're like spirit guides in a way.
Absolutely, man. Right. And my cat is a prime example, and so is Fergus. Yeah, the kitties, they know.
Oh yeah, they know. All the cats know. I know I mentioned this before, but I didn't mention this when we were recording. So I have 4 total cats. Fergus is the youngest, and then I have Harriet Potter. She's a tortoiseshell. And then I have Pistachios. She's a Siamese.
Oh my goodness.
And then I have Cheshire. He looks like a Russian blue, but he's just like a domestic short hair.
Those are so perfect. All of these names. So
I know,
perfect.
like I want to pay money to name
on the ticket.
Yeah, but Cheshire and Pistachio act as emotional support animals for me. So like they're in tune with me all the time. If I'm in a different room and I start to get upset, like Cheshire will actually come into the room and be like, you should pet me instead of being upset.
Oh,
I can relate to that. I never
He's actually sitting right behind me on the floor.
You come.
Meow, meow, meow. Yeah, I have a service dog. So like it's a psychiatric service dog because I have CPTSD. And my service dog serves for that. But I've had Monroe 4 years longer than I've had my dog. And, I got him registered as like an emotional support. I went through that process with my doctor. But he is essentially on the same wavelength as my dog as far as it comes to like, those emotional or psychiatric needs. Very in tune. Very in tune. And it's so funny how animals just know. They know more than we give them credit for. I'll go back to that.
They really do.
They're so smart, and they are so in tune with us because their lives are all about us. It's like all things you, honey. You are everything to them. So they know when you're having an off day and when you need some support. You know what I mean? And if your cat or your dog doesn't know that, then maybe you need to reevaluate the relationship with your pet.
I have to say, Nevaeh, I have a lot of respect for you and the way that people come hard past and everything, but every time you say something, it seems like you're very up to date on your own healing. Like, oh, I've gotten this, I've done this, I've taken these steps to do this. Like, you hear a lot of people talk about their problems and wanting to get better, but I feel like if you had a problem, like you would find the solution and you would work to curate that solution. I have a lot of respect for that.
Thank you for that. I feel
that is very awesome
to talk about these things and talk about my trauma. I was just talking about this with my friend last night, and I can normalize and talk about all these things that have happened to me because, I've processed them, I've grieved them, I've gone through the stages of grieving that's necessary for traumatic events, not just death, and that's something that we need to accept as a society. But at the end of the day, I'm one that's very big on if I'm going to complain about it, I'm going to do something about it. I'm not one to just be like, this is bothering me or I'm triggered by this and I accept everybody to conform and work around, the trauma that's happened to me. It's no one's fault that happened to me, so I need to flex and adjust my life and find solutions to these things and, move forward from it. Because I feel like a lot of people get stuck in that trauma cycle, and especially with CPTSD, with the flashbacks and the things that come with that, it's very easy to get caught up in that cycle of it. But recognizing it for just what it is. This is already passed. You've already done this. This is, handled and taken care of. And here's your solution. Just reminding yourself that you're at peace and giving your inner voice that rest. And, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, no, it's very empowering. I'm glad that you have a platform here to tell your story a bit. It's great. It makes me smile.
Resilience, baby. Resilience.
Yes, ma'am. I know this has been such like a girl power podcast today. I'm like sort of in love. But we will move on a little bit. Edie, I want to thank you so much for coming on here and telling us about your product and the history behind it. And I just want to thank you also for being someone who works with small businesses. I think we sort of neglect to appreciate, especially with all these big box brands and the department stores and everything, how important
Right.
small businesses are and that they do change people's lives. So the fact that you could, one, have a hobby that you love, turn it into a money-making business and continue to grow is very inspirational. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. It's
Yeah.
I'm hoping to one day make it my full-time job. Right now I work, well, I have a big girl job, and then this is my side hustle. But I have been very fortunate to be able to grow the business in the way that I have. I've been working with the Indiana Small Business Development Center. They have a chapter in Terre Haute.
Oh, cool.
And I went in and I pitched my business to them, and I was like, I would love to expand, because I want this to be my job someday.
Right.
And I had applied. They have a program called the Startup Boot Camp, and it's a 30-day program. And you have a certain number of like credits to spend with the marketing and development company who does it. And so you're able to kind of like cherry pick what services you need. Sorry, I feel like I'm way off center here.
All things
Kitty said it's my time to shine.
Yeah, he does this all the time. But so you're able to cherry pick the services that you need. It could be website development, brand development. They're working on a style guide for me.
Oh, cool.
They will develop a logo for you, business cards. They offer photography with a professional photographer. They'll come into your kitchen and take pictures of you while you make food.
Oh, cool.
They'll take pictures of the finished product and get that put up on the website for you. It's really a phenomenal program, and I'm in the midst of it right now. So the website is being built right now. Okay, bye. So there are a lot of different moving components that are up in the air right now. But I've signed on to do a couple of like market events in the coming months. So I'll have that, and then I'll have the website so that I can offer shipping to people outside of Indiana, or even in Indiana, just not in Terre Haute. So I'm very, very excited that I was able to get in on this opportunity, and I'm really excited to see where it takes me.
Yeah.
Well, Edie, actually, you mentioned something just now, which is really exciting. So I'm actually, a couple people know, I'm a model of 10 years now. I've been in the industry as an independent model for 10 years, and I've worked with a lot of different companies, a lot of different people, and hairstylists, lash artists, nail artists, small businesses, etc. And collaborated with them on projects for this essence of marketing. And you and I should definitely get together, and maybe we can try to figure out something. And maybe because with the following that I have too, I'm all about supporting local business and kind of working with these local people. So we should definitely be in touch.
I would love that.
Yes.
I would absolutely love that.
Emails.
Speaking of collaboration, I have a few big projects I want to talk to you guys about too. Really
Yeah, please do.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
So modeling right now with the new year is just booming. I don't know what's going on, but I have a few projects that are in the works right now. I'm looking to fly out to Las Vegas at the end of the month and collaborate with a photographer on a witchcraft, fae, kind of fantasy type photo shoot for like a little cosplay book that he wants to produce for himself.
Oh my
so
gosh, that sounds
there. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
And then also I'm collaborating with another photographer in Lansing in the upcoming month or so on a project to create a whole tarot deck, which is so jazzy because, somebody that practices and somebody that also is in the modeling industry. I'm like, how cool would it be to have my own deck with myself on it? I mean, it sounds a little self-centered, but I mean, come on.
But that sounds so cool though.
Yeah.
So I also read tarot. I have about 4 or 5 decks stashed around my house. Oh, we have another guest coming to join me.
Hello, guest.
This is Harriet. And she's gone.
What's your
She's
favorite
camera
book?
shy. But no, I have several decks around my house I've been reading for several years. I started reading when I was still in high school. And I actually used to read tarot for one of my teachers. Like one of my absolute favorite teachers in like sophomore year. Like I took my deck to school. I think somebody in class wanted me to read for them, was why I had it. And she was like, this looks really interesting. Tell me about this. And so I was like, well, why don't you sit down? Tell me what's happening. And let me just draw some cards here and I'll tell you what's happening.
Let me drop some knowledge.
So I'll never forget like the look on her face. I drew, it was the 8 of Pentacles. And I was like, so you're in a court battle or you've got one coming. And she goes, shut the fuck up. Oh shit, I shouldn't say that, you're a student, but how did you know that? And I was like, I didn't. The cards know these things. And she was like, so what does it say? Like, am I gonna win? And I was like, well, it's right side up, so I'm gonna take that as a yes, you're gonna win. And she was like, fucking A, I love that. You're my new favorite student. And I was like, love it. But like a month or maybe 2 months later, she asked me to stay after class, and she was like, you're not gonna believe this. And I go, what's going on? Am I in trouble? And she goes, fuck no, you're not in trouble. I won my court case. And I was like, yeah. I fucking told you.
I told you, right?
I love it when like you
Yeah.
do readings for people, because actually Edie too, a fun fact, a small business realm, I actually have a metaphysical spiritual business that I started last year. And I have clients that are all around the world, and I do like tarot, I do pendulum readings, I do Ouija board readings, I do kind of,
It's amazing.
aura readings, the whole kit and caboodle, natal charts. And it's so cool to be able to see somebody's reading come to fruition, like come to life. It's like, okay, this is like the
so
before,
great.
then, and after.
Yeah.
And then here we are. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
can I follow up with you? They're like, oh, guess what? Like,
Yes.
You're talking to me.
My best friend also reads tarot, so like we read for each other fairly often. My mom reads tarot. Like if I'm ever having like a really shitty time, I'll go to her house and be like, I need reading, something is wrong. And like it's never fun to like sit there and listen to the cards just like call you out on your shit. And but sometimes you need it. Like sometimes you just need to be brought to heel, and they don't pull any punches.
Right.
You hear the message that spirit has for you. And like, as being a medium, like when I read tarot, I'm interpreting cards and I'm also hearing like a vocal message. So I kind of have this weird combo deal going on. And like, you hear what you need to hear. You don't go into tarot, and sometimes you'll go into tarot for a career reading and you'll get a love reading because that's the message that you need today. Or sometimes, you'll go into a reading hoping for good news, and you'll be told that shit's about to crumble and your tower card is about to be followed by the death card. So honey, let's make some changes here. Things are coming to closure.
Something ain't right.
But it's not gonna be pretty. I had a former partner ask me to do a reading for him, a love reading about us. After we broke up, I said, I don't think this is a good idea, but I am non-biased. I'll go for it. And I did it. And the reading was very much like, she's not the one. And, she's going to marry somebody else. And it's your best idea to just move out of state like you planned on doing. And this is not going to work out. And he was like, I just paid $45 for that. I'm like,
see, that's funny. You hear hard news and it's from your mom, and that's like, okay, a little bit of a soft blow. He's asking his ex, like, if y'all are gonna get back together. You're like, no.
No, my mom is not a soft blow at all. She's a Scorpio. She doesn't give a fuck.
No.
My sister too.
Sagittarius, fire. I'm a fire sign all through. I'm a sun Sagittarius. I am a moon Pisces, and I am a rising Sagittarius too, honey.
I am a double Taurus with a Cancer rising.
Oh,
yeah.
What was your moon? I'm sorry.
I'm a double Taurus.
Oh,
so
wow.
My sun and moon are both Taurus.
Wow, you're like good on the earth though. Sometimes I get lost on the Sag sign. I get lost in the ether.
I'm very grounded and very practical.
I could see that.
Thank you.
That's so
So,
awesome. I love that we were able to connect that spirituality with your small business and like things that
Yeah.
you have going on. I love the foundation of your business and your big plans for it. I think that's really cool that you're reaching out into the community and looking to expand. We should definitely collaborate, because I know a lot of things about grant writing too, and different local things that can help out with the marketing and, you know, kind of getting your word out there. So we should definitely link up. So I'll make sure that we exchange information. But I applaud you,
Absolutely.
because the foundation of your business and your reason for doing what you're doing is very wholesome. And, you know,
Yeah.
like we all
Sure.
can agree in spirituality here. Obviously, there's a higher being. There's something else after this. And where great grandma is at, she is commending you through and through. You're in a 10
I
of
should hope
Pentacles
so.
situation, honey. It just needs to play itself out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing for me is the waiting, because I have ADHD, so like I'm constantly chasing the serotonin,
Same.
and like I got all my bricks in a row, and now I have to sit and wait. What the fuck? Why?
Where's
I
my
don't want to
instant
sit here and wait.
gratification?
But yet at the same time, I can be incredibly patient. Like when it suits my needs to be patient, I can do it because I'm a Slytherin. So I'm all about finding the best solution for things. And if I need to lie in wait to fuck somebody over, I will.
Don't cross her. Don't do it.
Another thing
Yeah, I come from a multi-generational witch family. Like you don't want any of this.
That's awesome. That's really
That's
y'all are gonna start
exactly-
leading the country. I'm telling you.
That's what I wanted to feed on too, because you come from a multi-generational, like, you know, like witch household, you know, people that are practicing these strong women. Okay,
Well,
let's
the
put that out
thing
there. These
is,
strong
like,
women.
my mom, my sister, and I practice. All of the women in our family who have come before us, they have gifts, but as far as we know, none of them practiced.
Yep.
But like my grandma straight up refuses to admit that she has a gift, but she does. My great grandma, the one who was born on Halloween, she was like, I see spirits all the time. And we we're like, okay.
Oh, she's in it.
Like that's not really something you want to hear when you're a kid. Like she used to tell us stories about, like, you know, she would live in an apartment by herself, and like she told me one time when I think I was like 12 or 13, she's like, I woke up from a nap and there was a black shadow in my apartment and I just told it to get out. And I was like, what the fuck now?
Anna, what?
I come from a
Yeah,
Hungarian like bloodline of like strong Hungarian women, right? And
Oh,
like
I'm part
there's,
Hungarian.
like,
I think
me
it's
and my family, like, so my mother practiced, and then, you know, I practiced, my sister practices too. She's learning tarot, bless her heart, my little baby witch. But the generation before that, my mom, she practiced, but the only one in that generation. And the generation before that, my grandma also had gifts, but she didn't recognize it. She was a very strong-willed Christian. And she saw her gifts more or less as like the working of Christ. You know, it's just like, you know, what to each his own, whatever you identify it as, like she had these different healing powers, right? But she didn't really correlate it with that. And come to find out, doing all this research, you know, there's like gifts that go down my lineage for generations. And it's like I've been kind of manifesting and like growing into that. And I didn't realize how much potential and how much strength and how much power is in my bloodline. And it's really cool to be able to see that work out. Like these women, though, once again, these strong, powerful
I am woman.
Exactly. I love that for you, Nevaeh. That's fantastic. I've also been doing like some genealogy research. I did the DNA test, and so I've been combing through Ancestry, and I'm like, I want to know which bitch this started with, because it came from somewhere. It came from somewhere. But like, you see like all of these TikToks, they're like, oh, if you have the birthmark here, then that means that you're descended from witch. And it's like every single one of those that I see, I have the mark.
We should link up and chat on spiritual things after this. We have a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We have a lot.
We're gonna be good friends. I can tell already.
Well, I guess on that note, we'll do this conversation out of the pod, but that's awesome. Something to look forward to. But I just want to wrap this show up with a little bit of national global news. And yes, okay. So the DEA seizes 588 pounds of fentanyl, along with $786 million worth of hard drugs on the Texas border. So the DEA just picked that up. I think it was about a month or so ago. everybody just be safe with your drugs. Please test them. Fentanyl is not a fucking joke. Kills people, ruins lives,
Fentanyl is
destroys
not a
people.
joke.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a much harsher note than what we've been talking about. I apologize, but just to raise awareness around that, please be safe. And then I would also like to say a rest in peace to Betty White, John Madden, and Sidney Poitier. Rest in peace. Thank you for all your contributions to the planet, and we love and respect you, and you will be dearly missed. So,
G's up, Betty White. That's
yes,
my dog.
Absolutely. I love her.
Dog. I feel bad about not really knowing who the other two people are offhand, and I apologize. Your death also is important, folks. But G's up to Betty White. Dog.
Alrighty. So that about wraps our show today. Thank you so much for listening. And you can always check out our podcast on anywhere podcasts are available, Spotify, Google Pod, and you can watch us live on Facebook or YouTube. So thank you so much for tuning in today. We really appreciate you.
You rock, world.
And thank you, Edie. And thank you, Edie, for coming on today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was an absolute blast.
We loved having you, my dear. Come back and stay.
Yes,
I would love to come back.
Alrighty, Indiana. Have a great day. Bye.